Hello, good morning, students. Welcome in today's class through online teaching. Myself, Upma Meena, Assistant Professor of English, Government PG College, Bara. So, students, in today's class, we are going to start a new chapter for BA first year's student. Our today's topic is of studies, and this is famous essays written by Francis Bacon, who is regarded as father of English essayists. Francis Bacon is regarded as father of English essayists. This essay of studies is written by Francis Bacon, who is widely regarded as father of English essayist. And this essay of studies has been included in BA Part First Syllabus, Paper First, Prose and Fiction. So students, in earlier class we have already discussed some important facts about Francis Bacon's life. In today's class we will know that what Francis Bacon wants to say in his essay of studies. In this essay, Francis Bacon describes the importance of studies in human life. Bacon begins the essay by enlisting three purposes of studies. According to Francis Bacon, there are three purposes of studies: to delight, for ornament, and for ability. According to Francis Bacon, there are three purposes for study. First is to delight, second purpose is for ornament, and third purpose of study for ability. Studies delight most when one is scheduled and resposed. Knowledge acquired through studies serve as ornament in a conversation. A well-read man will have a good vocabulary and greater knowledge, which will increase the birth of a conversation. Studies improve one's judgmental and authoritative abilities. An ordinary man can no doubt go about their daily business without difficulty, but a learned man will do so with higher efficiency. Bacon, however, says that studying too much is a sign of laziness, and using too much ornaments while conversing makes one look pretentious. To make judgments only on the basis of rules is the eccentricity of a scholar. Studies make a man perfect. Studying is not an inborn talent, it is acquired. The natural abilities of men are to be enhanced by studies, just like the growth of plants is enhanced by trimming. The Francis Bacon says that the natural abilities of men are to be enhanced by studies, just like the growth of plants is enhanced by trimming. Studies provide both directions and experience. Practical men often condemn studies, but wise men use it. Studies teach men to learn from observations. One must not use knowledge as a means of contradiction or confusion. Studies must also not be used to believe or to take for granted or to talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. Then Bacon speaks about the different ways in which different books are to be read. The essayist says that some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. This means some books are to be pursued lightly, that is, tasted, while some other books are to be understood and enjoyed, that is, swallowed. On the other hand, certain books are to be digested, that is, to fully extract their meaning, and then Bacon speaks the different ways in which different books are to be read. On the other hand, certain books are to be digested, that it to fully extract their meaning and implemented in one's life. Therefore, some books are to be read only in parts, others are to be read with less curiosity, and some books are to be read with attention and diligence. Bacon, however, also says that sometimes it may be enough to read extracts or reviews of book made by others instead of reading the whole book by oneself. But according to Bacon, this is to be done only in case of books of less importance. He considers these distilled books to distill water, which he calls fleshy things. Reading makes a man complete. Conversation makes a man quick and witty. And writing improves the memory. Bacon tells us his point of views about studying. He says that reading makes a man complete, conversation makes a man quick and witty, and writing improves the memory. If a man writes less, he will lack a good memory. If he speaks little, he will lack wit and presence of mind. And if he reads less, he will not have much knowledge. A study of history makes a man wise, while a study of poetry makes him witty. Here, essayist Francis Bacon tells us benefits of studying. He says that a study of history makes a man wise, while a study of poetry makes him witty. Mathematics makes a man exact and precise, and natural philosophy increases the depth of the mind. Morals make a man grave, whereas a study of logic and rhetoric makes him more comprehensive. Studies pass into character. A man's character is influenced and defined by the type of books he reads. There is no disease of the mind that cannot be cured by proper study. Bowling is good for the bladder and the kidneys, shooting for the lungs and breast, walking for the stomach, and riding is good for the head. Similarly, mathematics is the remedy for a wandering mind, whilst mathematics is the remedy for a wandering mind, because if a man's mind wanders while solving a problem, he will have to begin again. If a man is unable to make distinctions, he must study schoolman, and if he is not quick in passing through matters, he should study the law. In this portion of the essay, Bacon addresses problems with the three categories introduced at the outset. Spending too much time studying leads to lack of productivity. Studies have only potential power in themselves. They must be applied towards practical ends. Here, it would be prudent to remember words of wisdom from Ralph Waldo Emerson. An ounce of action is worth a ton of theory. Using studies for ornament in the present day is perhaps best exemplified by the postmodernist Lacan in particular loved obscurantism. Quite frankly, his writing makes him sound like a pretentious hipster. Bacon warns against such vanity. Love of sounding intelligent leads to intellectual conceit. Bacon notes one other major problem. He is rejecting the subjugation of humanity to reason. We use reason to improve our lot in life, both individually and as a society. Plato and others have tried to argue that reason must reign supreme. Plato used the analogy of the chariot whereby the charioteer represents reasons and the horses represent the passions. The charioteer's goal is to maintain control. This feeds into Plato's larger argument that the soul works best when reason is in charge. Modern psychology has pretty much shattered the naive goal of placing reason in charge of the passions. If we were to make judgments wholly by the rules of abstract principles, we would feel terribly constrained. Reason is the servant of the passions, but a persuasive and stubborn one. In the last, the essayist Francis Bacon says that there is no disease of the mind that cannot be cured by proper study. Bowling is good for the bladder and the kidneys, shooting for the lungs and breast, walking for the stomach, and riding is good for the head. Similarly, mathematics is the remedy for a wandering mind, because if a man's mind wanders while solving a problem, he will have to begin again. If a man is unable to make distinctions, he must study schoolmen, and if he is not quick in passing through matters, he should study the law. Thus, Bacon concludes the essay by establishing that for every defect of the mind, a remedy is to be found in study.